Hey everybody, on What to Watch with Your Popcorn, we got a treat for you guys.
Today we'll be reviewing the movie Inglorious Bastards, but there's a bit of a catch. Rob, tell them why.
Instead of reviewing the Quentin Tarantino film that came out last year, we're going to be reviewing a film also called Inglorious Bastards that came out in 1978.
This movie is different from the one that was just released last year. The plot and the storyline are both totally different. And as a matter of fact, I would compare this movie probably to The Dirty Dozen with Lee Marvin. They both involve non-POW military prisoners.
The story of this film, Inglorious Bastards, is that a group of American prisoners are being sent to jail to be court-martialed, and on the way their truck gets shot down by a Nazi plane, and it turns out that 5 of the prisoners are the only ones left. They decide that they're going to go to Switzerland because they can't go back, otherwise they'll get their sentence. And Switzerland is pretty much the country that they want to go to is the only one that's still neutral. However, on their way to Switzerland, they have to fight a lot of Germans in order to get through. Okay, Dave, well, something I gotta say. This is one of those movies that you really can't take very seriously because this movie's got a lot of funny jokes among the characters, and the deaths are really, really over the top. Some characters are flying through the air, and I noticed that, they got those over-the-top deaths where they raise their arms to go, oh, and they fall.
Yeah, it's almost like when there's explosions and they fly. It's almost like they got them attached to wires, or it's like dummies and stuff.
Yeah, I'm convinced that that in some shots there were some people on wires flying up, but this is definitely a film you really can't take too seriously. It's definitely more of a comedy rather than a serious war film, somewhat like the Inglorious Bastards that came out recently.
Yeah, there are some funny bits in the newer one, but not as much as this one.
Yeah, when you told me that you found an old version of Inglorious Bastards, I really didn't believe you, honestly, because the thing is, these two films, they're pretty much different. They're other than the title, they're different films. I mean, I wouldn't say that Quentin Tarantino's film is a remake. I mean, they both have the same title, but this is definitely something completely different, and I did kind of enjoy it. I did think it was more funny than serious.
Yeah. I mean, well, the new one is just called Inglorious Bastards. The old one is The Inglorious Bastards.
Yeah, and plus, with this old film, they spell bastards right, B-A-S-T-A-R-D-S, and Tarantino's version, it's E-R-D-S. So I believe it was shot in Italy, and this film was directed by Enzo Castellari. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name, and it kind of does have a somewhat cheap look, and it does at times feel like it's a little bit that it's a product of the 70s, but I thought it was very enjoyable. It might be a little bit too violent for some people. I was really, really impressed with the locations and everything. They got a castle, they got real vehicles, and the production design. I was really, really impressed with the look of the film, with everything they had.
Yeah, the uniforms, German uniforms, and the U.S. uniforms all look like really good.
Mm-hmm. And this film, I gotta say, there's a lot of deaths in this movie. It seems like there's so much in there. It's definitely probably one of the most violent films I've seen in a while.
Yeah, and it also, there was bits and pieces of it also reminded me of some other war films, like Force 10 from Navarone, like the part where they were getting ready to go out and do the mission and whatnot.
And even though this film is set in 1944, sometimes I think the characters don't talk like that. Like Fred Williamson, sometimes he talks like he's a character from the 70s rather than. So that kind of took me a little bit. But
there was a lot of 70s lingos in it. Didn't they also say that it goes under 2 other names originally?
Oh yeah. The bonus feature on the DVD has Quentin Tarantino interviewing the director, and when it was first released on video in this country, it was called Deadly Mission, and when a blaxploitation video company bought the film, they called it G.I. Bro, and they put Fred Williamson's picture on the cover to make it look like he was the star, but he's like, I'd say maybe he's like the second lead in this film. So it does go under various titles, and if people are going to look for it, keep an eye out for either The Inglorious Bastards or Deadly Mission or G.I. Bro, but I believe they're all the same film. I don't know if they made it too many changes to it.
Yeah, and I think The Inglorious Bastards is is more than likely the easiest title to find it under.
And the bonus feature about Tarantino where he's interviewing the director of this film. To me, it felt like Tarantino was taking too much of the conversation rather than sitting down and talking to him a little bit. I mean, there was a couple of times I saw where the Enzo was Castellari, was able to tell a little bit about the movie and a little bit about some of the problems he had with it and what he thinks of using the use of slow motion and fast motion in that film. So it was interesting, but I felt like Tarantino made it look too much like the Quentin Tarantino show.
Yeah, he was like trying to be funny, and I think he was also scaring Enzarelli a little bit because he was like looking at him and he's like, when is this over?
Yeah, there was this time where he's like, ooh, Quentin Tarantino's like, yeah, and this, and then Enzo's sitting there going, yeah. Yeah. I mean, Tarantino talks about how he first saw this. This movie, I guess, wasn't really given a wide release in this country when it first came out, and he caught it on TV. That, I thought, brought some interesting things. I think this might explain why this film may not be as well known, especially under its original title of The Inglorious Bastards, English title. I definitely say if you can find it, check it out. It may not be your cup of tea. It is a little bit violent for some people, but I think the sets, locations, it looks good. I think the cast was excellent. It's got Bo Svenson in it, Fred Williamson.
I think mostly if fans of Dirty Dozen, mostly people that like that movie, will probably like this.
Okay. Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. All right, so that's our take on the 1978 film Inglorious Bastards. Feel free to leave any comments, and we'll catch you next time.